Hey everybody, Pam McCoy here, and I was just I'm out here at my favorite park. Just came from my morning walk, and was listening to one of our audios. You know, something that I talk about all the time, and something I encourage you to do. Listening to empowering audios, reading books, etc. And I got a question for you: have you been brainwashed? I can tell you that I have been. I've been brainwashed for years, for decades. I want to tell you a little story, and this is a story that I heard on this particular audio. And I'm, embellish it a little bit, or may say it a little bit differently than the original version. But there was a mom. Her name was Susan, and she had a little girl. It was about 9 years old, and her name was Savannah. And Savannah was watching Susan as she was getting ready to make a special supper, or lunch, I should say, making a special lunch. They had a lot of family coming over. It was for a celebration, and so Savannah's in there watching Mom get ready, and they're going to have a nice baked ham. And Savannah watches Susan cut the ends off of the ham. She sticks it in the pan and puts it in the oven. And Savannah asks her mom, she says, "Mom, why do we cut the ends off of the ham? Why'd you do that?" And Susan said, "Well, that's just the way that we do things. We always just cut the ends off the ham, and then, that's how we bake it." And Savannah was very inquisitive, and she didn't like that answer. And she said, "But why?" You know how kids are. But why? Why do we do that? And she said, "Well, Savannah, that's just the way we do things." And Savannah wasn't going to take that for an answer. So Susan finally said, "I tell you what, let me call your grandma, and we'll ask her about it." So Susan calls up her mom, Linda, and she says, "Mom, I'm getting ready for lunch here, getting ready for our meal, and put the ham in the oven, cut the ends off, put the ham in the oven. And Savannah wants to know why we cut the ends off of the ham." And so she puts Savannah on the phone, and Savannah says, "Grandma, why do we cut the ends off of the ham before we put it in the oven?" And Linda says, "Well, honey, that's just the way that we do things. That's how my mom did it. That's how I taught your mom, and that's just the way that we've always done it." And Savannah was like, but why?" And Linda just kind of giggled, and she said, "Well, baby, that's just the way we do it. I don't know if there's a particular reason, but that's just the way that we do it." And Savannah still wasn't satisfied. So she said, "I tell you what," Linda said, "I tell you what, why don't you call my mom, your great-grandmother, and ask her about it?" So Susan dials up her her grandmother, Savannah's great-grandmother, Emily, and she says, "Grandma Emily, I've got a question for you. I'm getting ready for a special dinner, cut the ends off the ham, put it in the oven, and Savannah is wanting to know why we cut the ends off of the ham." And so Savannah gets on the phone with her great-grandmother, and she said, I don't know why Mom has cut the ends off of this ham." And so, she couldn't answer me, and I talked to Grandmother, and she didn't know the answer, and so they put me through to you. Can you tell me why we cut the ends off of the ham? And Emily said, "Oh, sure, honey, I can tell you why. It's because back in my day, we didn't have a dish that was big enough to fit the whole ham, so we had to cut the ends off of the ham in order for it to fit in the dish to get it in the oven." And Savannah says, "Oh, okay, now I understand." Now, decades have gone by, and nobody has known why they were cutting the ends off of the ham. They just knew, hey, that's the way we do things around here. And good for Savannah for questioning and being a free thinker and saying, why? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. Now we'll have more ham to eat. Because we're not going to cut the ends off anymore, because that was done for a reason that no longer exists. And because Savannah was, thinking for herself and questioning the norm, then she's able to change things, go out and change things for herself, for her family, for generations to come. So, what does that have to do with being brainwashed? Well, the same thing happens to us when it comes to the way that we think about money, we think about jobs, we think about life in general. I was brainwashed for years, and I use the term brainwashed, and we normally think of that as like some espionage, spy, bad man kind of criminal activity. And it's not necessarily meant in that way. It's that it's being brainwashed, being told something for years and years and years that isn't necessarily true anymore. And really wasn't necessarily true before, when the story came about. I've been told for years, go to school, make good grades, go to college. You got to get good grades in high school so you'll get into a good college. Then you got to get good grades in college so that you can have a good job. And you get a good job, and then you work hard and get raises, and that's how we do things around here. That's what I was taught. Perhaps that's what you were taught too. And that's that kind of thinking is fortified, for lack of a better term, in school. When you're in high school, you're taught. They give you, when you're in preschool, kindergarten, elementary school, they give you this picture, and they tell you to color it, but they want you to color within the lines. Don't think outside the box. You need to color. Why did you color outside the lines? You did a good drawing, but baby, you need to be inside the lines here, right? Or, if we're when we're learning how to ride a bike, or whatever it is, when we're learning something, that's what we're taught. This is the way that we do it. Going back to the school thing, everybody stands in a line. We walk in a line from our classroom to the bathroom or to the cafeteria or whatever. Everything is done just so. Why? Well, you're not encouraged to be a free thinker. You're expected to be like the sheep and fall into line with everybody else. And so what I'm asking you to do is to be a free thinker. Well, here's the kicker. You get out, and if you do get that supposed good job and you're a hard worker, well, then they want you to be a free thinker. Then they want you to think outside the box. When for years you've been told, don't draw outside the lines, don't do anything that isn't like what everybody else is doing. And then you get to be grown up and you're working, and they want you to think a little bit differently, or at least in some jobs. So my challenge to you is to think for yourself, is to become that free thinker that says, why do I need a job? Why do I need to work hard to make money? Who said that? Who made that rule up? Because I can tell you that 100 years ago, 200 years ago, most people worked for themselves. Yeah, they did work hard, but they didn't work for somebody else. They were their own boss. They had their own set of rules that they followed to make the most of what they had, and to be the best entrepreneurs that they could for themselves and their families. And so that's my challenge to you, is to start thinking differently, start thinking outside the box, get away from that brainwashing. And it takes time. It's not something that can happen overnight. But you can get that information right here within our company. You click that link below. This is what we teach. This is part of the growth that takes place to help you become your own boss, to become that free thinker, to become that person that says, you know what, I don't have to be tied to a job. I don't have to, quote unquote, work hard to make money. Who says I'm worth $40 an hour, $15 an hour, $60 an hour? I'm worth so much more than that. And I'm going to allow myself, I'm going to give myself the ability, the freedom, the the abundance that I deserve and that my family deserves, I'm going to think for myself, I'm going to determine how much I'm worth. I'm going to determine what working hard is and when I'm going to work and how I'm going to work. Well, that's what we teach here. That's what we teach, and we give you the ability to go out and make all the money that you want, all the money that you could ever possibly want for yourself and for your family. Income disclaimer, your results may vary. It depends on how hard of a worker you are, if you're willing to put the time and the effort into learning some new skills, and into learning a new way of thinking. So I can't guarantee that's going to happen for you, but I can tell you that it's happening all around me. It's happening all around us in this company that I'm in. So I invite you to click that link below, join us, and I will see you on the inside. Bye.